The first thing I'd like to ask you is when you're working with an older person and you have somebody in their 80s, what are the two or three biggest challenges that you find working with somebody who's older?
Probably the biggest challenge is just getting to know them and understand what's going to work best for them, what their situation is.
Mm-hmm.
If it comes to, if we're talking about the home and working with that, does the home actually need to be sold?
Yeah.
If it does, is there equity in the home? Just looking at that dynamics around that. It's a conversation.
Yeah.
And really getting to know the person, understand what their objectives are, what needs to be done.
Yeah. My experience has been I walk into homes that are from 1968 and everything is like a time capsule of this moment. People live like this, and a lot of times there's deferred maintenance that hasn't been done on the properties. I find that these are the ones that want to hold on to their home more than anybody else does because they've lived their whole life there and that's what they're familiar with and are comfortable with.
You hit on a big one right there. A lot of times people have been there a long time, and all those things in the home and the fact that it's not updated, that's all comfort. And so it's something that we have to kind of look at and respect.
Yeah.
And if it is time to sell the home, we have to figure out how's that going to affect things, because that's comfortable for them, but in the marketplace isn't necessarily the most desirable to somebody who's going to want to buy it.
It's interesting. See, my business, of course, I'm providing caregivers to stay in your home longer. And then I'm also trying to help people find placement, which takes you out of your home. And when I originally started partnering with you, I thought, this would be the perfect marriage because it's like you've got people that are leaving their home to go into an assisted living community, a memory care facility. But often, even once they've moved into this new location, the parent is very unwilling or paranoid about going and selling their home. I think it's an emotional loss.
People are very attached to their homes, and it's not just a simple, okay, we're moving to assisted living, so sell the home. It doesn't happen that quick, and there's so many conversations to be had. You have to respect that person's or that family's wishes and what they're feeling.
Yeah. I think sometimes it's like we described like going into a new care home or assisted living, like you're the new kid. It's first day of school, so now you're living there. You've been taken away from the other places in your life that you're comfortable with, and you have to make new friends. I know you went through that.
Well, and a big part of that that's where the support of the family comes in. First of all, just being there with the person. Don't just drop them off and leave, because that happens. And having, when they move in, to have some reminders of home, some mementos that they can take with them. And a big thing is just, as part of the conversation with them, if the home is that important, know that it doesn't, unless it has to be sold right away. Sometimes that's the case, but sometimes it's not. And you can assure them that home isn't going away.
What are a few things that you kind of make as terms of recommendations when somebody is making that decision to sell their home? They've been in that home for a very long time. Is there certain kind of consistent recommendations that you make to people in that circumstance?
Truly, one of the first things is, if this conversation is coming up, one of the first conversations is to talk to someone like yourself, to figure out, to talk to the people who have the answers to what the future plan can be. If living at home is becoming difficult, it's time to talk about what the options are, because people don't know. We didn't know in my family until we talked to you. Mm-hmm. You guided us through the process. And it's everything from, can they stay at home and receive the care they need? Yeah. Or is that just not going to work? And is there another option? Financially, and it does, unfortunately, things do come down to money, because it's going to cost money whether you stay at home. And if things are getting to the point where care is needed, that's a very expensive route. We don't acknowledge where we are in life. We don't see ourselves from the outside.
I definitely have that feeling of being 15 years back, and things change. And definitely when I talk to older people, they'll agree with that statement. So there's a recognition of it, but they're also like, I'm not going to show any weakness, and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. I'm not going to show any weakness. We're very proud of our lives, proud of our homes. And this is a point in time where it can be hard to acknowledge that ourselves, and especially to other people, to our family members and that kind of thing.
Definitely, and I would say even more so with this generation of people. This is a hard knocks, sandwich generation of people that, they weren't going out to restaurants every night or getting lunch at a sandwich shop. They were packing their own meals and really pinching every penny the way they go. So for that person to have saved up an accumulation over their lifetime and then to have to spend it on themselves is a really hard thing for them to do.
The fact of spending it on themselves is that they don't see that as a proper use of the money. It's like a perspective can be, I'll just stay here in my home. I'll just die here in my house before I spend X thousands of dollars a month to go live somewhere else.
I know for the people that I will sometimes get conversations about real estate, maybe somebody has passed away. The kids live in another area, and now that house is just sitting there. Should I sell it? It's probably easiest just to sell it, get the money, split it amongst the siblings, and move on, especially in the caregiving landscape that I work with people that have had a caregiver. So obviously they've had health issues and eventually maybe pass away. At that point, what is your findings there?
Again, we start with a conversation of who are the players. We have to see who's in the family. And sometimes there's no family. But we have to kind of see what the dynamic is and see what their feelings are. Is everybody getting along? And is there a benefit to somebody in the family living in the home, continuing to own it? Is there a benefit to keeping the property? And if it's an investment property or could be, is there a benefit to that? Or is it in everybody's best interest to sell the property and take the money and move on? It can be. And this is where having their attorney involved, having their CPA involved, because it immediately becomes potentially quite complicated. I try to lead people in the right direction, to talk to the right people. Of course, at the end of the day, it's their decision. But what I bring and what you bring also is experience and expertise in the process and knowing who the people are, that if they don't have them already, meeting people like attorneys, that kind of thing, get those conversations.
Well, you've been doing this so long now. So you've been doing this for 32 years. So you know the person to call with the landscaper, the person to contact with the estate sales, like somebody from the Bay Area is selling their parents' house. How, what things are they looking for that may be different than like other realtors can provide with your experience?
We put together what we call our senior real estate division here as part of the company. They got a home. Nobody in the family is close by. We have the capacity to help them in pretty much every single way. Clearing out the property, fixing up the property, getting repairs, figured out what needs to be done, and if anything needs to be done, maintaining it.
Yeah.
We've got a property going right now where the family lives in Oregon. They're out of the area.
This is a partnership between you and I.
It is, exactly. I met them because of you. And so we're taking care of things, making sure the property is properly maintained. In this particular one, there's a pond in the front that cannot be allowed to go empty. So we make sure, even down to those little details, but those are all things that need to be taken care of. The worst thing, kind of like a vehicle, kind of like our bodies, the worst thing for them to do is to sit unused. And so we monitor the situation to make sure things don't bad. And if they do happen, that they get fixed right away.
So my senior navigator is exactly for this type of thing. So I'm trying to find ways of helping my clients who, again, they have caregiving in the home. They have a parent that went into placement, maybe dementia and memory care needs. So there's so many different layers to this stuff that just change everything, right? Kids don't live here. Yeah. And it's a big pain in the butt to have to try to figure things out from San Diego and get here. I mean, there's just no easy way to get to the Central Coast. Anytime you have to go through LA, it's just made this really hard place to get to unless you're flying. And then
we're conveniently inconvenient to everything.
Yes, and it's all by design, right? But the idea here for my business is really to provide this extra layer. And I don't think anybody's really doing this effectively. That they don't have this senior transition type plan in place, and I think it's exciting. Like to me, this gets my blood pumping, and I think there's huge potential in finding what you might need. We would love to get some more feedback from you as well, because this is kind of a custom, even though there's a lot of general things that Chuck does as part of this program.
It's really, we're throwing it back
for sure.
But we're dealing with human beings.
Yes.
And nobody's the same, thank goodness. And you mentioned the customization, and the way we come at this is really kind of a white glove, customized approach. What are the needs and how can we help them? And we're in the fortunate position of having all the years. How many years have you been in your business?
11 years now.
Okay, you've seen it, done it, been there. And so when people come to us, we learn something new with every person, but there's going to be unique things. Listen to what they have to say, and we can come up with a plan, with a solution that's going to achieve whatever it is that they want.
Well, if you've lost your parent if your parent went into assisted living, there's a house sitting there by itself and you're like, boy, this is an asset that's just not doing anything for me right now, and you need to sell it, then you can contact us as an option and find out what types of things are involved with this. What are the things that we will go through, and Chuck and I will sit down with you and talk to you either over the phone or on a Zoom conversation, whatever's best for you. And we can kind of go through what the elements are that you are really in need of. And that could include care, that could include assisted living discussion, or it could just completely be about selling the house.
Yeah, there's no strings attached. And it's just where our heart is to help people in these situations figure out what the plan is, because it's scary. It can be frustrating. It can be maddening to go through this process. Yeah. And what you and I are here to do is to provide the answers to those questions and give a roadmap that's going to be the best for your family. There's a million questions, and I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. When mom or dad gets sick and you've got to figure it out, it's scary and it's absolutely frightening because you don't have the answers, and you need somebody that you can trust to lead you in the right direction. And so I think the biggest thing is just to understand the answers are there, the roadmap is there, and that's what we have for people.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Thanks, Chuck.
This has been fun.
This is good. We'll do this every week.